A trial date is now set for Rodney Hinton Jr. That's the man charged with intentionally hitting and killing Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson near UC on May 2nd.
Well, now he is set to stand trial January 12th. WCPO 9 News reporter Jay Shakur was inside the courtroom and walks us through what happened.
That's right, that mid-January date, and a long list of other dates were set this morning between the prosecution and Rodney Hinton Jr.'s attorney, Clyde Bennett. And experts say it can be tedious preparing for a capital murder trial. And we learned today in court 300 pieces of evidence have been logged by the prosecution alone, and much more is expected. The prosecution says that's because of the sheer number of police officers that responded to the scene on May 2nd. Footage from each one of their body cameras has to be logged as evidence. Cincinnati Attorney Joshua Evans, who isn't on this case, shared with me what this amount of evidence shows us.
In general, murder cases have a ton of evidence. So this is not anything that's irregular, but there is a plea for not guilty by reason of insanity. So they got to find an unbiased doctor that's going to be able to see that guy, see Mr. Hinton, which is could be difficult in the Cincinnati area. So I've heard rumblings that they might have to come up out of the Cincinnati area, the greater Cincinnati area, to find a doctor that can do the competency hearing.
Now, the lawyer for Rodney Hinton Jr. has suggested that his mental competency will be a major subject of his upcoming trial. Today, we didn't get any update on that claim. Several other dates, including jury screening, were discussed and set today. The judge says she wants a speedy but fair and efficient trial. In Cincinnati, Jay Shakur, WCPO 9 News.
All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. And that footage was from yesterday, May the 22nd, where Rodney Hinton Jr. appeared in court, and evidently a trial date was set for the capital murder case that he is the defendant of. Now, I am live and here in Cincinnati. I did not make it in time to reach the court proceedings yesterday, but we're going to be up here doing some things for the next couple of days. And the fact that this trial has been set, in my opinion, in a speedy manner, is very telling. They're trying to get this thing over with, and in my opinion, they're trying to exact swift and immediate retribution for the perceived alleged death of the deputy by our brother Rodney Hinton Jr. Now, if you've been hiding under a rock for the past month, Rodney Hinton Jr. is accused of running down a Hamilton County sheriff deputy one day after Cincinnati police killed his son. So there's been, once again, people saying that he was not the guy who was driving the car. There said that there was a lady who was actually driving the car. We have not seen any video footage of that accident, but according to this news report, there have been over 300 pieces of evidence that were logged into evidence, and many of them being the body cam footage of these officers. So, maybe that will give us some sort of clarification on the scene, because the only thing they have been showing is pretty much the picture of the car, the damaged car. There's no, pictures of Rodney getting out of the car, Rodney getting into the ambulance. There's none of that. So that's what leads me to be skeptical. There's no photos and interviews with eyewitnesses crying and, telling people how bad it was, which there normally is in something of this magnitude. So evidently it looks like as well that they are going with the mental health, not guilty by reason of insanity. As his lawyer Clyde Bennett has said on numerous occasions, he is focusing on the fact that Rodney Hinton Jr. may not have been in his right state of mind when this event occurred, which pretty much is deferring to the fact that, he was the driver and he indeed committed this act. And once again, I've had, information that is to the contrary. Nevertheless, one fact, like the lawyer Joshua Evans, shout out to that lawyer, said, one fact with that is being able to find an unbiased doctor who is going to evaluate him without prejudice, who is going to not wield or not yield to the public pressures of the people in Cincinnati, who feel that, this is no matter if he was out of his mind or not, he got to die. For them to find someone like that in the Cincinnati area is probably going to be hard. Someone who is not, once again, going to succumb to the pressures of the local people, who doesn't have to live here, who doesn't have to practice here, who doesn't have to face backlash if they deem him mentally incompetent to stand trial, or if they agree with the plea for insanity in relation to this act. So, but once again, the judge said that she wants a fair and a speedy and efficient trial, and I can see it's being really speedy. Fair is questionable because I've never known the United States judicial system to be fair, especially when it comes to black people. And efficient is also questionable. Efficient how? Efficient in, being one-sided and biased as it normally is, or efficient as being prejudicial or non-prejudicial, towards this defendant. So this is something that's going to remain, I guess, a constant theme. They set the trial January the 12th. There's going to be like 15 more dates. And if you're not familiar, that's probably, date to suppress this evidence, date to admit this evidence, date to strike this witness, motion to dismiss, motion to, they have all types of motions that they bring in, to kind of vie for, power or strategy in that nature. But there is, another coverage of this trial, of this date that was set yesterday. And I'm going to play that video real quick because the judge had a few things to say to Mr. Hinton, and which I want to touch on real quick. So just watch this one as well, and I'll be right back with some commentary.
Trial date now set for the man accused of using his vehicle as a weapon to kill a Hamilton County deputy.
So Rodney Hinton Jr. has more than 7 months now to prepare his defense. And WLWT News 5's Brian Hamrick was in the courtroom as the schedule was set today. Hi, Brian.
Yes, Cherie. Well, they set that court date for January 12th, 2026. Not only that, but an entire series of days that are leading up to the trial, court dates and deadlines.
State of Ohio versus Rodney L. Hinton.
It was a day of dates.
Which day would you all like? Do you want to do December 8th? That's a Monday.
For Rodney Hinton Jr., it's more than a calendar countdown.
December 17th.
Their days to decide his destiny.
Do you guys have a preference on a Monday, Thursday?
No less than 15 dates were set, all leading up to January 12th, 2026, the day of the trial that would determine if Hinton lives or dies. Until then, Judge Jody Lubers had some more present questions for Hinton.
Mr. Hinton, how you doing? Okay. So I just want to ask you, how are they treating you at the jail?
Fair.
Hinton is accused of using his vehicle as a weapon to hit and kill Hamilton County Deputy Larry Henderson. It happened just after he saw this body cam. It shows Cincinnati police shooting Hinton's son, 18-year-old Ryan Hinton, to death the day before. Police say the teen had a gun, was threatening officers as he ran from a stolen car.
And I've actually spoken to classmates of his. We all said the same thing. We did not expect this, but we are processing the whole situation.
Hinton leaves with his hands held together in cuffs, but now new time constraints holding him to the calendar. Yeah, now prosecutors said today they had a large amount of evidence. In fact, they've already logged in 300 pieces, and that's on the books already, including a large amount of body cam. Reporting live, Brian Hamrick, WLWT News 5.
All right, so there you see Rodney Hinton Jr. in court once again, and his friend, his classmate, people who know him said, okay, well, they never saw this coming, and probably, that's a true statement. Nobody can fathom what somebody would do in this situation, and Of course, speaking to his brother, he doesn't feel that, that's his brother's character neither. But nevertheless, the judge asked Rodney some questions, and I have to, speak with people who know him because, when the judge talked to him, he gave her a lot of one-word answers. How are you doing? Okay. How they treat you in jail? Fair. And I wish I had some more, footage of that particular interaction. But, I wonder if that is his normal, speaking manner, his speaking tone, his speaking, posture as being short and discreet like that, because that could be a sign of, certain abuse. If, you ever spoke with a woman whose man was abusing her, you try to talk to her and she gives you one short, not to compare him to that, but, she gives you short answers and things like that, so that could be something, to watch for, as time goes on, as he continues to appear in the court. So we are once again going to continue to monitor this situation. Once again, I am live in Cincinnati, so I'm going to be going down to the courthouse, going down to the police station, going down, to the scenes and, talking to people, getting on the ground. I think there's a couple of meetings that is happening in regards to this situation. So we're going to be digging deep, and really getting to the crux of the matter, outside of what, the natural or the national or the local media is telling us about this situation, about Rodney Hinton Jr., about Ryan Hinton's case as well. We're going to be looking into that, all of those things while we're here. So we're definitely going to keep our brother in the prayers. And once again, a lot of people are calling, asking, how can they get money directly to Rodney Hinton Jr. or the family of Ryan Hinton. And hopefully I'll be able to get some concrete information on that, because we saw the Attorney General, trying to implore the Give, Send, Go people to take his, fundraising efforts now. So hopefully I'll be able to get some, get in contact with some credible people who can, give me that information. But nevertheless, y'all know the scripture. Say, remember those people who are in prison if it were you yourself. So that's what we're doing down here. We remember our brother who's in prison and come down here to give him support, as well as support the family of Ryan Hinton Jr., whose life was taken by the police officer, which we are always here, which is the reason why we're here. Like one lady said, if it were not for the perceived act of Rodney Hinton Jr., then the world would not know about the death of his son, Ryan Hinton Jr. So that's another story, and it's very telling in itself. So y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for tuning in, watching, liking, and sharing the videos and subscribing. Most of all, peace and blessings. Have a blessed day.